James Brady doing an inward 2.5 somersault tuck. Again, going to rotate toward the diving board. And there's a good example of that clean entry I'm talking about. Again, not the highest jumping dive, but amazing going in vertical and straight. Nice pointed feet and a good clean entry.
Score was a 68.2. Faminoff.
So he's going to be doing a twisting dive. It's a reverse 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists. Well, again, another change. That looks like it was reverse 1.5 with 2.5 twists. So I think maybe the strategy for him and his coach, John Proctor, was get through to the final, and then maybe we'll beef up our degree of difficulty a little bit and try and do some harder dives.
Just a 45 though on this dive.
Yeah, and that's going to happen sometimes. Again, he's a platform diver. Is probably his strength, and so 1 meter getting through, that's a little bit of probably a bonus for them.
Well, we're going to see Skizzle now, but we should point out that the diving is different than the swimming. They can't automatically qualify for the NCAAs just based on performance here.
That's correct. That was a nice front 3.5 tuck from Ben, but you're exactly right, is that they can come here and have a great ACC championships, and they have to go back to the NCAA's own meet in a few weeks, and that's how you earn your ticket into the NCAA championships.
So what do you use this meet for then?
It's a good practice for that contest. It's basically the same format that the NCAA championships are, but it's also a good chance to gauge where you are going in. Do you need to make some adjustments? How do you handle the pressure?
Forward 3.5 somersault tuck by Davidson.
And that was a really good start. Unfortunately, just let it go by. Otherwise, it gets that clean entry straight up and down, and Pike saves a little harder. Probably gets in the 7.5, 8 range there. And
61.5 is the score for that dive. Kumos is up next.
When you're chasing the leader, that 61 is not quite enough.
Kumos, the defending champion in this event, but in second place all night long so far.
Yep. Joe's doing a front 2.5 with a full twist, and one of the things I want you to look at is just how high he jumps and how high he finishes. He probably finishes that dive, anywhere from 4 to 6 feet higher than most of the guys in the contest. Unfortunately, goes by.
65.6 is the score for that dive.
It's a good dive, but got to clean up the entry.
Thatcher, his 5th dive.
Cameron's doing a reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck, his prelim. And he had it. You see him just come out and pull a little bit too much on the entry, and so it just over rotates.
52.5 is the score for that dive.
And it's a little game of little movements, because he just pulled maybe a couple 2 inches too far by on that, and it ends up, instead of being 7.5, 8, in the 5.5, 6 range. So
it's Moretti.
His coach is happy. You can see Nunzio in the background there with a lot of excitement for that inward 2.5, and with good reason.
77.5 is the score for this individual dive.
And as you're watching that, you see him, he's got those flexed feet and the split tuck, but man, is that a great entry and finish, and nice and straight up and down.
Doesn't move him up past Kumos, however.
And here
Here's
comes
Duncan, our leader.
So we'll see a reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck here, and that's going to get very good scores.
76.5, and that is definitely going to keep him in the lead. In fact, increase his lead a little bit.
And you just really see, his entries are very good. It's clean, and it makes a difference. But the dive looks easy.
So he has got a 31-point lead over Kumos heading into this final round. This is Brady starting the final round.
James did a nice back 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists. Again, it's got the lower degree of difficulty at that 2.5, but pretty good execution in the good range at 7 to 7.5.
53.75 the score is final total 311.75.
And again, his best event's also platform, so that 311, that's not a bad thing for him being in 2 finals and 3rd place yesterday. And this is his highest degree of difficulty dive of the day. So it's an inward 2.5 somersaults tuck at 3.1. And he does it well. It's a little low finishing, and that's why you get the scores down there in the satisfactory range.
58.9 is the score for that dive. 300.5 is his total score. Skizzle now from Virginia Tech.
Ben's finishing with a back 2.5 somersault tuck. And Ben missed that one again, a little over on the finish, but Ben and Greg Duncan actually came from the same club program in Virginia. So they were teammates before they went off to college.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy with that last dive. 37.5. And now Davidson with his final dive.
See Josh do an inward 2.5 somersaults tuck. It's nice to finish with that dive. It's that back takeoff, maybe a little nerves and a dive you feel really comfortable with and do well. And that was a nice effort. Not quite as clean on the finish, but made it easy and finished a little higher than Aiden's just a couple dives before.
68.2 the score, and he finishes 368.20. Kumos.
Joe's going to do a front 2.5 somersaults with 2 twists. Most of the guys you see do a full twist. He's going to add 1 more twist to it again. It's a dive you see the gentleman do on 3 meter more often.
He's the defending champion. It doesn't look like he's going to defend his title. He's still a good shot at finishing second, though.
And that's gonna help, but I think it's gonna be on Greg to finish it out.
70.20.
That's a very athletic and powerful dive, and especially if you watch, you see him step back on the diving board there in his hurdle. And
up next,
Cameron's going to finish with an inward 2.5 somersault tuck.
The toughest degree of difficulty he's performed tonight.
Nice to save one of your best for last. That was a nice dive.
71.3 his final dive. Two more divers left. Evan Moretti from Duke.
So Evan's got a forward 2.5 somersaults with 1 twist. Again, we just saw Joe do that with 2 twists. So
Moretti was in 3rd place. Let's see if that's good enough to move him into second. 62.40.
Going to come up just a little short. It was a good dive, just a little over on his finish. Again, got to work on cleaning up that last little bit into the water and making it really solid.
So here it is. Duncan trying to win a title on the opening 2 nights of the competition.
Well, and as a freshman too, that first time here. So he's got a good chance to do that. He's got to do a solid dive, but I think you're going to see a really good one. Just the way he's competing, he seems to be right in the zone.
From North Carolina.
And that's definitely going to do it. So probably 8.5.
75.95 his final score. And Gregory Duncan of the University of North Carolina is the men's 1 meter champion. His 2nd straight title. He won last night, he's won tonight, and he's just a freshman, as you pointed out.
That was a pretty amazing contest. You don't see that from a lot of freshmen with that kind of composure and handling himself, but that was awesome.
Look at that score. He was way in front of Kumos.
428, that's averaging over 70 points a dive. And we're talking about 60 being good. This morning he went 369, so that's a significantly higher score here in the final. So awesome job for him.
So congratulations to Greg Duncan, just a freshman, winning the ACC men's 1 meter final. So he's the ACC champion in the 1 meter.
We have 2 freshmen up there. Now, Josh was the runner-up, the third place finisher was the runner-up yesterday as a freshman for Florida State, and Greg, a freshman as well, winning both 1 meter and 3 meter. So they'll be doing this for a while.
Yeah, wow.
Duking it out, I think.